Everyone said muscle was dead in the 1990s, killed by regulations, safety crusaders, and insurance companies who hated fun. They were wrong. While everyone was busy writing obituaries, Detroit was in the lab cooking up something mean. The muscle car was about to come back with a vengeance. Meaner, faster, and angrier than ever before. Today, we're counting down the 12 most dangerous muscle cars of the 1990s. These weren't your father's muscle cars. These were weapons that combined old-school brutality with modern technology. You're watching Retro Road Kings. Hit that subscribe button and let's get into it. Drop a comment right now. Which 90s muscle car scared you the most? The full-size sedan was supposed to be dead in 1996. Then Chevrolet dropped the Impala SS like a bomb, proving that four doors didn't mean boring. This thing arrived dressed in murdered-out black, sitting low on 17-inch wheels, looking like an unmarked cop car with serious attitude. Under that long hood lived the LT1, a 5.7-liter V8 straight from the Corvette, 260 horsepower and 330 pound-feet of torque, pushing over 4,000 pounds with authority. 0 to 60 happened in 6.5 seconds, quarter mile in the low 15-second range. The 4-speed automatic fed power to a limited slip differential that could light up both rear tires on command. But the real danger wasn't just speed, it was anonymity. In black with minimal badging, it looked innocent until the light turned green. Soccer moms thought you were responsible. Then you'd embarrass them at every stoplight. Chevrolet built about 41,000 across 3 years. Today, clean examples command serious money from collectors who appreciate a muscle car that could wear a suit. The Impala SS was dangerous because it looked responsible until it humiliated you. Sometimes the most dangerous machines make absolutely no sense on paper. GMC took a compact pickup, strapped on a turbocharger, added all-wheel drive, and created something that embarrassed Corvettes. The 1991 Cyclone shouldn't have existed. That's exactly why it became legendary. The 4.3-liter turbocharged V6 generated 280 horsepower and 350 pound-feet of torque. 0 to 60 happened in 4.3 seconds. 4.3 seconds in 1991 when Corvettes needed over 5. Let me repeat that. A pickup truck was faster than a Corvette. Quarter mile in the low 13-second range. GMC built 2,998 of them, all black with red accents. You'd pull up next to some guy in his Mustang GT and he'd laugh at the little truck. Then the light would turn green and you'd disappear, leaving him confused and humiliated. The Cyclone proved muscle didn't require big displacement. That turbocharging and all-wheel drive could deliver brutality traditional approaches couldn't match. While the Trans Am got attention with screaming chicken graphics, the formula was the subtle killer. The 1996 Pontiac Firebird formula delivered nearly identical performance in a cleaner package. This was Pontiac understanding that sometimes the most dangerous predator doesn't advertise. The LT1 V8 produced 305 horsepower and 335 pound-feet of torque. The 6-speed manual had short throws and mechanical precision. 0 to 60 arrived in just over 5 seconds. Quarter mile in the mid-13s at over 100 miles per hour. Hit that like button if you love sleeper muscle cars that don't show off. Pontiac offered the formula in colors like bright purple metallic and polo green metallic. But the smartest buyers chose subdued shades like white, silver, or black. Without the Trans Am's cartoon graphics, the formula looked almost innocent. Then you'd hear the exhaust note, a deep rumble at idle that rose to a mechanical scream past 4,000 RPM. And you'd know this was something special. The Dodge Viper wasn't trying to be safe or civilized. It was America's middle finger to European supercars. Powered by an 8.0-liter V10, producing 400 horsepower and 450 pound-feet of torque, The 1992 Viper RT10 arrived as a roadster with no roof, no windows, no traction control, and absolutely no apologies. 0 to 60 happened in 4.6 seconds. Quarter mile in the high 12s. Top speed passed to 160 miles per hour. But the terror came from what it didn't have. No electronic safety nets, no anti-lock brakes, no traction control. The side exit exhaust could literally burn your leg. The interior was hostile. 2 seats, a wheel, 3 pedals, 6 gauges. That's it. The steering was unassisted, requiring genuine arm strength. Dodge built under 1,500 first-generation Vipers, most in Viper Red. The proportions were cartoonish: endless hood, pushed-back cockpit, stubby tail. The Viper was dangerous because it demanded respect. Snap the throttle mid-corner and the tail stepped out violently. But when you got it right, the experience was transcendent. If the formula was the subtle killer, the 1998 Pontiac Trans Am WS6 was the car that kicked down your door and announced its arrival with thunder and fury. This was the F-body at its absolute peak, right before General Motors killed the entire platform. The LS1 V8 had arrived, replacing the LT1. The 5.7-liter LS1 produced 325 horsepower and 350 pound-feet of torque. The real magic was how that power arrived, in a smooth, relentless wave that started low and pulled all the way to red line. 0 to 60 took just over 4.6 seconds, quarter mile in the high 12-second range at speeds exceeding 110 miles per hour. The WS6 package added Ram air induction, a functional system that pulled cooler outside air through the hood scoop. More importantly, the Ram air system created an intake howl that mixed with the exhaust to produce one of the greatest automotive soundtracks of the 90s. What's your favorite 90s muscle car sound? Drop your answer in the comments! The body kit was pure excess. Massive hood scoop, aggressive ground effects, rear spoiler. The most iconic color was Arctic white with blue graphics, a direct callback to the Trans Ams of the 70s. The WS6 Trans Am was raw, loud, fast, and completely unapologetic. The C5 Corvette arrived for 1997 as a complete reimagining of America's sports car. Everything was new. The LS1 produced 345 horsepower. 0 to 60 took 4.7 seconds. Quarter mile in the low 13s at over 105 miles per hour. Top speed passed 170, making the C5 one of the fastest production cars available at any price. The chassis used hydroformed steel, lighter and stiffer than anything before. The suspension delivered balanced handling and comfortable ride quality. Inside, real leather and supportive seats created an environment worthy of the performance. The hatchback provided surprising cargo space. You could actually use this car. The C5 could corner with ferocity, generating lateral acceleration numbers that embarrassed European sports cars, costing twice as much. The C5 proved American engineers could build a world-class sports car. It matched European competitors for handling, exceeded them for speed, and cost thousands less. The C5 was dangerous because it made supercar performance accessible to regular people. 1999 should have been a victory lap for Ford. Instead, it became a scandal. Ford claimed 320 horsepower. Independent tests revealed closer to 280. The automotive press went nuclear. Ford offered buybacks and compensation. It was a disaster. But here's the thing. Even with the power deficit, the '99 Cobra was seriously quick. 0 to 60 took around 5.6 seconds. Quarter mile in the low 14-second range at just over 95 miles per hour. The independent rear, suspension, lifted from the Lincoln Mark VIII, finally gave the Mustang. Handling that could compete with the F-body cars. The brakes were massive. 13-inch ventilated rotors at all 4 corners providing strong, fade-free stopping power. Inside, leather seats and white-faced gauges created an upscale environment that separated the Cobra from base Mustangs. Despite the power controversy, the '99 Cobra laid essential groundwork. Ford supercharged the 2000 Cobra as an apology, creating one of the most legendary Mustangs ever built. Chevrolet built the Grand Sport to honor the legendary race cars of the '60s, those brutally fast machines that competed against Shelby Cobras and Ferrari GTOs. Only 1,000 Grand Sports were built, all wearing either Admiral Blue with a white stripe and red hash marks, or black with similar graphics. The LT1 produced 330 horsepower and 340 pound-feet of torque. But the Grand Sport wore significantly wider wheels, 9.5 inches in front and a massive 11.5 inches in the rear. Wrapped in aggressive Goodyear Eagle GSC tires, developed specifically for this application. 0 to 60 took just over 4.7 seconds, quarter mile in the high 12-second range. But straight-line speed wasn't the point. This was about cornering capability, about generating lateral acceleration numbers that embarrassed European sports cars. The wider tires and tuned suspension allowed the Grand Sport to pull over 1.0 G in steady-state cornering. The Grand Sport's body was pure aggression wrapped in fiberglass. Flared fenders covered the wider wheels, creating a muscular stance that looked ready to attack. Inside, every Grand Sport received unique embroidery on the seats, featuring the crossed flags and Grand Sport script. A numbered plaque on the console told you exactly which of the 1,000 examples you were sitting in. Today, Grand Sports command serious premiums over standard C4 Corvettes. The Dodge Stealth RT Turbo was the result of Chrysler having partnership with Mitsubishi, a technological showcase that proved Japanese engineering and American marketing could create something genuinely special. The 1992 Stealth RT Turbo was a rolling computer, packed with technology that seemed lifted from science fiction. The 3.0-liter V6 featured twin turbochargers, dual overhead cams, 24 valves, and intercoolers, producing 300 horsepower and 307 pound-feet of torque. The all-wheel drive system could vary power delivery between front and rear axles, maximizing traction. 0 to 60 took exactly 5 seconds flat. Quarter mile in the high 13-second range at speeds approaching 100 miles per hour. But straight-line speed was only part of the story. The technology list read like a concept car: electronically controlled suspension with sport and tour modes, four-wheel steering that turned the rear wheels at low speeds for maneuverability, then in the same direction at high speeds for stability. Active aerodynamics with a rear spoiler that deployed automatically at speed. The body was sleek and low with pop-up headlights and a fastback roofline that looked exotic from every angle. The Stealth RT Turbo was dangerous because it made serious performance accessible and easy. The technology compensated for driver mistakes, allowing people to drive faster than their skill levels suggested they should. The 1999 Pontiac Trans Am represented the absolute pinnacle of F-body performance before General Motors tragically killed the entire platform. The 5.7-liter LS1 with RAM air induction produced 325 horsepower and 350 pound-feet of torque. The LS1 delivered power in a smooth, relentless wave that started at idle and pulled all the way to redline. 0 to 60 took just 4.4 seconds, a time that embarrassed Corvettes and shocked owners of European sports cars. Quarter mile in the high 12-second range at trap speeds approaching 115 miles per hour. The WS6 package included functional RAM air induction that pulled cooler outside air through the massive hood scoop. The RAM air system created an intake howl that mixed with the aggressive exhaust to produce one of the greatest automotive soundtracks ever created. The suspension was track-ready out of the box. The steering was quick and responsive. The brakes were massive with large ventilated rotors that could handle repeated stops from triple-digit speeds without fade. The body kit was pure late 90s excess and absolutely perfect. The hood scoop was enormous and completely functional. The ground effects hugged the pavement. The rear spoiler looked fast, even when parked. The most iconic combination was Arctic, white with blue graphics, a direct callback to the Trans Ams of the ET's 70s. This was Pontiac's final statement in the muscle car world, the last great F-body before GM pulled the plug. Ford built the 2000 Cobra R as both an apology and a declaration of war. After the horsepower scandal of 1999, the special vehicle team knew they had to rebuild trust. They created a Cobra that exceeded every expectation, a barely civilized race car with license plates. Only 300 Cobra Rs were produced, every single one painted in performance red, every single one equipped with a manual transmission, none of them with rear seats or air conditioning. This wasn't a compromise. This was a weapon built specifically for track days and racing. The 5.4-liter dual overhead cam V8 produced 385 horsepower and 385 pound-feet of torque. Ford removed everything unnecessary: rear seats, air conditioning, sound deadening, even the radio. 0 to 60 took just 4.4 seconds. Quarter mile in the low 13-second range at trap speeds approaching 110 miles per hour. Top speed stretched past 170 miles per hour. The suspension was pure racing hardware. Bilstein monotube shocks, Eibach springs, massive anti-roll bars. The result was a Mustang that felt glued to the pavement. The brakes were enormous Brembo units with 13-inch ventilated rotors and 4-piston calipers. The wheels were 18-inch BBS units wrapped in Goodyear Eagle F1, racing rubber developed specifically for the Cobra. The exhaust note was mechanical and angry. The dual overhead cam V8 screaming toward its 7,000 RPM redline with a sound that was more race car than street machine. Ford sold each Cobra R for $54,195. Today, clean examples command well over $100,000 at auction. The most dangerous muscle car of the 1990s wasn't the loudest or the most powerful. It was the Corvette that combined genuine supercar performance with everyday usability and a price tag that seemed almost reasonable. The 1999 Chevrolet Corvette fixed-roof coupe, or FRC, was Chevrolet's parts bin special, combining the lightweight structure of the convertible with a fixed hardtop and the upgraded drivetrain from the Z06 package. The LS1 V8 produced 345 horsepower and 350 pound-feet of torque, but the fixed-roof coupe was significantly lighter than the standard coupe, weighing just over 3,200 pounds. The result was the best power-to-weight ratio of any Corvette that year. 0 to 60 took just 4.4 seconds. Quarter mile in the low 12-second range at speeds exceeding 115 miles per hour. Top speed stretched past 175 miles per hour, making the FRC one of the fastest production cars available at any price. But straight-line speed was only part of the story. The fixed-roof coupe's lightweight structure and stiff chassis made it the best-handling Corvette of the C5 generation. The suspension used transverse leaf springs front and rear with completely modern geometry that delivered balanced handling and surprising ride quality. The steering was quick and communicative with excellent feedback. The brakes were massive 12-inch ventilated rotors with improved pads that provided strong, fade-free stopping power. The traction control could be completely disabled for track use. The fixed-roof coupe wore unique body-colored headlight surrounds and came standard with thin-spoke lightweight wheels from the Z06 package. The exhaust note was sophisticated and mechanical. A deep rumble at idle that rose to a screaming crescendo as the LS1 climbed toward its 6,000 RPM red line. The fixed-roof coupe could corner with genuine ferocity. The lightweight structure and stiff chassis allowed the suspension to work more effectively. The balanced weight distribution meant it rotated naturally through corners. The most popular color was black, which emils per emphasized the aggressive proportions and made it look like a stealth weapon. The danger of the fixed-roof coupe came from how capable it was, how easily it could reach speeds that would terrify you in lesser cars. But it also provided the tools to handle that speed. Strong brakes, responsive steering, and a balanced chassis that stayed, composed even at the limits. The 1999 Corvette fixed-roof coupe was the most dangerous muscle car of the 90s because it made supercar performance accessible and easy. It could run with Ferraris and Porsches on track, then cruise home comfortably on the highway. The 1990s proved that muscle never really died. It just evolved and adapted to a changing world. These 12 machines weren't just transportation. They were weapons wrapped in fiberglass and steel, powered by engines that roared defiance at everyone who said American performance was finished. From turbocharged trucks to stripped-out race cars wearing license plates, these machines proved horsepower and heritage were alive and well. Here's the big question. Which of these dangerous legends would you take for one last drive down an empty back road? Drop your answer in the comments below. And speaking of 90s muscle madness, we've got an entire playlist dedicated to the cars that brought American performance roaring back to life. Check it out in the description. You're going to love it. Before you go, smash that like button, subscribe to Retro Road Kings, and hit that notification bell so you never miss our next deep dive into automotive history. Thanks for riding with us today. Until next time, keep celebrating the cars that refuse to die, keep appreciating American horsepower, and remember, the best stories are always just beginning. This is Retro Road Kings signing off.